Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is all about related rates. So let's start. First question is, what are related rates problem? So in differential calculus, related rates problems involves finding a rate at which a quantity changes by relating that quantity to other quantities whose rate of change are known. When we say rate of change, yung quantity natin is changing with respect to time. So it's either increasing or decreasing. That's why yung rate of change is usually with respect to time. So last time, implicit differentiation, palagi tayong with respect to x. This time, with respect to time. And also, syempre, gagamit tayo dito ng calculus, specifically implicit differentiation. Before we start, ito muna yung steps in solving related rates problems para meron tayong guide kung paano mag-solve ng related rates problem. So number 1 is draw a diagram. This is very important. Kasi kapag mali yung illustration natin, malaki yung chance na yung answer natin is obviously magkamali. Kaya dapat yung diagram natin or illustration ay organized and maayos. Number 2, after nating magawa ng illustration or diagram, assign some variables and their rate of change. Kung may given na rate of change, ilagay na agad natin para hindi natin makalimutan. Okay? In addition, pag sinabi natin rate of change, it can be positive, negative, or zero. Kapag yung ating quantity is increasing, so yung ating rate of change is positive. Kapag yung ating quantity is decreasing, yung rate of change niya is negative. And kapag yung ating quantity is not moving or ito ay constant yung height, constant yung distance, yung rate of change niya must be zero. Keep in mind na yung rate of change is just the slope. So yung slope ng constant is just zero. Okay? Now, number 3, relate all quantities in the same equation. Based on my experience, itong number 3, yung medyo mahirap gawin. Yung i-relate mo lahat ng variables in just one equation. But kung magpa-practice tayo, yung paggawa ng equation ay medyo magiging simple para sa atin. Okay? Number 4, differentiate the equation with respect to time. So last time, with respect to x. This time, with respect to time. Kung nung last topic natin, meron tayong d dx, ngayon naman meron tayong d dt. So ito yung madalas natin makikita ngayon. Derivative of the function with respect to time. And keep in mind na lahat ng quantities na gagawin natin, since ito ay application, so lahat ng quantities natin is changing with respect to time. Kaya lahat ng quantities natin is a function of time. Okay? Now, number 5 is use the resulting equation to answer the question. Now, let's have our first example. Example number 1. A stone is dropped in a pond, sends out a circular ripple whose radius increases at a constant rate of 4 feet per second. After 12 seconds, how rapidly the area enclosed by the ripple increasing? Now, question is, what is a ripple? Now, imagine for a second na nagbalibag ka ng bato sa ilog. Pag tama ng bato dun sa water, kung mapapansin nyo, merong parang bumibilog mula dun sa binagsakan ng bato. And yung tawag natin dun sa parang bilog na lumalaki ng lumalaki is ripple. Kung hindi pa kayo nakakita nun, ito yung picture ng ripple. Yung bilog na palaki ng palaki, ang tawag natin dun is yung ripple. Now, in this example, ano yung kailangang i-relate natin? Kung babasahin ulit natin yung question, a stone is dropped in a pond, sends out a circular ripple whose radius increased at a constant rate of 4 feet per second. So meaning, yung radius yung isa sa mga quantities natin. Now, kapag yung radius ay lumaki, nag-increase, yung area ay mag-i-increase din. Now, let's have the solution. Balikan natin ano ba yung mga steps na kailangan natin gawin. So yung step 1 ay draw a diagram. Step 2, assign some variable and their rate of change. Gawin natin yung 1 and 2. Una, gawa tayo ng diagram. So ito ay just a circle. Ito yung circular ripple. Next, kailangan natin ng radius. And yung radius, saset natin siya as variable r. Next, kung meron tayong r, meron tayong dr over dt. So, ano naman ibig sabihin ng dr over dt? This is the rate of change of the radius with respect to time. Now, basahin natin dun sa ating problem, alin dyan yung rate of change ng radius with respect to time. Now, sa first sentence, ang sabi doon, a stone is dropped in a pond, sends out a circular ripple whose radius increase at a constant rate of 4 feet per second. So meaning, the rate of change of the radius with respect to time is 4 feet per second. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Kada segundo, lumalaki yung ating radius ng 4 feet. So kaya yung ating dr over dt is equal to 4 feet per second. Next, ano pa yung ating kailangang mahanap? How rapidly the area enclosed by the ripple increasing. So kailangan natin ditong hanapin is dA over dt, or the rate of change of the area with respect to time. Now, anong time yung kailangan natin? So, i-evaluate natin siya at t is equal to 12 kasi after 12 seconds. So, yun yung goal nating makuha. So, we're done in step 1 and step number 2. Tingnan natin ano yung sunod na step natin. Relate all quantities in the same equation. Relate natin yung mga quantities in the same equation. So, meron tayong area and radius. Obviously, gagamitin natin yung formula for the area of the circle. So, we have the area is equal to pi r squared. Dito sa topic natin, magagamit natin halos lahat ng mga formulas na natutunan natin from elementary hanggang senior high school. So, nandito yung mga area, perimeter, volume, surface area, and so on and so forth. Pythagorean theorem, similar triangles, and so on and so forth. And lahat ng yan ay magagamit natin depende dun sa question. Now, next step tayo. Ang next step natin, after natin ma-relate yung lahat ng quantities in the same equation, number 4 is differentiate the equation with respect to time. So, balik tayo. Ang goal natin is to take the derivative of this equation with respect to time. Now, keep in mind na yung area is a function of time and yung radius is a function of time. What does it mean? The area is changing with respect to time and the radius is also changing with respect to time. That's why yung area at saka yung radius o yung a saka yung r is a function of time. Now, kunin natin yung derivative both sides with respect to time. So we have derivative of a with respect to time is equal to the derivative of pi r squared with respect to time. Since yung pi is a constant, ito ay 3.1415 and so on and so forth. So pwede natin siyang i-pull out sa labas ng ating derivative. So we have derivative of a with respect to time is equal to pi times derivative of r squared with respect to time. Now, kunin natin yung derivative ng a with respect to time. So this is just dA over dt. And it is equal to pi times derivative of r squared with respect to time is equal to 2r times dr over dt. So dito gagamit tayo ng chain rule. Now, kung medyo nalito, balikan lang natin yung lesson natin last time. Nangyari na rin kasi yung same scenario na to nung kinuha natin yung derivative ng y squared with respect to x. Last time, yung y kasi is a function of x. So dito sa ginagawa natin, yung r is a function of time. Kaya meron tayong dr over dt. Okay, so let's move on. Now, ano yung susunod na step natin? After nating makuha yung derivative both sides with respect to time, yung next step natin is use the resulting equation to answer the question. So ano ba yung question natin? We have to find dA over dt, or the rate of change of the area with respect to time. Now, meron tayong dr over dt. So, meron tayong value for dr dt, or the rate of change of the radius with respect to time. Now, yung question na lang is, ano yung value ng r? Kasi yung pi at saka yung 2, those are constant. Mumultiply lang natin yan. Now, basahin ulit natin yung question. So, sabi dito, yung rate of change ng radius is 4 feet per second. Now, yung hinahanap natin is after 12 seconds. Now, kung yung radius is changing 4 feet per second, after 12 seconds, gano'n na siya kahaba? So, ito ay just 4 times 12, or simply 48 feet. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Yung R natin is 48. Now, substitute natin. So, we have dA over dt is equal to pi times 2 times yung R natin is 48 feet times yung ating dr over dt is 4 feet per second. Simplify natin, multiply lang natin yung pi times 2 times 48 times 4 and we got dA over dt is equal to 384 pi feet squared per second. Now, what does it mean? Balikan natin yung question. How rapidly the area enclosed by the ripple increasing? And yung answer natin, after 12 seconds, the area is changing at a rate of 384 pi feet squared per second. And we're done. Now, please take note na kapag area yung kinukuha natin, kailangan yung unit natin ay naka-squared. Kapag volume, naka-cube. And so on and so forth. So, be careful dun sa ating unit. Kaya sa ating computation, nilagay ko yung unit para makita natin na magkakaroon talaga tayo ng squared. Kasi pag pinag-multiply natin yung feet at saka yung feet, automatic magkakaroon tayo ng square feet. Okay? Now, let's move on to question number 2. A 6 feet tall person is walking away from a 15 feet tall lamppost at a rate of 3 feet per second. Assume the scenario can be modeled with a right triangle. At what rate is the length of the person's shadows changing when the person is 7 feet from the lamppost? Hopefully, familiar kayo dun sa scenario. Halimbawa nito, pag naglalakad tayo sa gabi and merong lamppost, yung anino natin, habang palayo tayo dun sa lamppost, yung anino natin ay lumalaki. And sa question na to, yun yung kailangan nating hanapin. At what rate is the length of the person's shadow is changing kapag yung person ay papalayo doon sa lamppost. Now, kung hindi nyo ma-visualize, ito yung picture. Ito yung lamppost, ito yung man na papalayo doon sa lamppost. Kung mapapansin, kung meron tayong ilaw dito, yung shadow niya, syempre nasa harapan niya. Basically, ito yung ating picture. So, makakreate tayo dito ng right triangle. Okay? Now, let's have the solution. Recall muna natin yung first and second step natin. So, yung first step is draw a diagram. Number 2, assign some variables and their rate of change. So, balik tayo sa ating problem. Kailangan natin gumawa ng illustration. So, dito meron tayong right triangle wherein itong side na to is yung ating lamppost and yung man natin o yung person ay nandito sa bandang gitna. Now, yung shadow niya ay nandito sa harapan niya. Okay? Next, lagyan na natin siya ng label. So, basahin ulit natin yung problem. A 6 feet tall person is walking away from a 15 feet tall lamppost. Ibig sabihin, yung height ng ating person is 6 feet and yung length ng ating lamppost is 15 feet. Next, assume the scenario can be modeled with a right triangle. Ito na ngayon. At what rate is the length of the person's shadow changing when the person is 7 feet from the lamppost? Hindi natin pwedeng ilagay agad yung 7 feet dito sa ating diagram kasi yung distance ng person dun sa lamppost is also changing. Bakit changing? Kasi nga yung tao ay naglalakad at yung rate niya is 3 feet per second. Therefore, hindi natin pwedeng ilagay agad yung 7 feet. Now, bakit yung 6 feet at saka yung 15 feet ay inilagay na natin? Now, since 15 feet tall yung lamppost, hindi na magbabago yung height ng lamppost natin. Hindi naman tumataas yung ating lamppost with respect to time. Hindi naman after 5 seconds ay matangkad na yung ating lamppost or tumaas na ng 3 feet. So, therefore, yung height ng ating lamppost is a constant. Also, yung height ng person natin is also constant. So, yun ay 6. Kaya nilagay na natin. Pero, yung distance ng person dun sa lamppost, ito ay nagbabago. Kaya, hindi natin pwedeng ilagay agad yung 7. Okay? Therefore, ano yung lalagay natin? So, lagay natin siya as variable x. And dun sa shadow, let's say, ito ay s. Now, yung total length ng base ng ating triangle must be x plus s. Next, ano pa yung mga given natin? So, we have 3 feet per second. Ano naman yung 3 feet per second na yan? So, basahin ulit natin mabuti. A 6 feet tall person is walking away. So, ito ay papalayo dun sa lamppost. Therefore, yung length ng x is changing at a rate of 3 feet per second. It follows na yung dx over dt or the rate of change of the variable x with respect to time is equal to 3 feet per second. Now, ano ba yung kailangan natin hanapin? Yung rate of change nung shadow. So, yung goal natin is ds over dt. Yan yung nawawala. Yan yung unknown. Or simply, gaano kabilis yung paghaba ng shadow mo habang papalayo ka dun sa lamppost. Or yung rate of change of your shadow with respect to time. So, we're done in step 1 and step 2. Punta na tayo sa step number 3. Step number 3 natin is relate all quantities in the same equation. So, balik tayo. Paano natin i-relate yan in the same equation? So, dito gagamit tayo ng angle. So, let's say this angle is theta. Now, using this big right triangle, pwede natin kunin dito yung tangent. Recall na yung tangent of theta is the opposite over the adjacent. Therefore, yung tangent theta, gamit tong malaking right triangle natin, is simply 15 or the opposite over the adjacent x plus s. So, we have 15 over x plus s. Now, using this small right triangle, pag kinuha natin yung tangent theta niyan, yung tangent theta must be 6 over s. Now, tingnan mabuti na para silang equal sa tangent of theta. Therefore, yung 15 over x plus s must be equal to 6 over s. So, pwede silang i-equate and we have an equation that relates x and s. So, we're done dun sa ating next step. Punta na tayo sa pang-apat. Yung pang-apat na step natin is differentiate the equation with respect to time. So, balikan natin. Pwede pa natin siya i-simplify bago natin kunin yung derivative niya both side. So, simplify muna natin. Cross-multiply natin. So, we get 15s is equal to 6 times x plus s. Distribute natin yung 6. Magiging 15s is equal to 6x plus 6s. Subtract 6s both sides. So, magiging 15s minus 6s or simply 9s is equal to 6x. Now, since nakasimplify na siya, pwede natin kunin yung implicit differentiation niyan. So, kunin natin yung derivative both sides with respect to time. So, we have derivative of 9s with respect to time is equal to the derivative of 6s with respect to time. Now, kunin natin yung derivative ng 9s. So, we have 9 times ds over dt is equal to 6 times dx over dt. Again, keep in mind na yung s at yung x is a function of t. Or simply, those quantities are changing with respect to time. And we're done para dun sa step number 4. Step number 5 natin is use the resulting equation to answer the equation. Now, meron na tayo ditong value ng dx over dt. This is 3 feet per second. Ito yung rate of change nung distance nung person dun sa lamppost. And yung goal natin mahanap dito is ds over dt. Now, isubstitute na natin yung dx over dt. So, we have 9 times ds over dt is equal to 6 times 3. Now, 6 times 3 is 18 divided by 9. So, we have 2. Therefore, the rate of change of the shadow with respect to time is equal to 2 feet per second. Ibig sabihin, habang papalayo yung person dun sa lamppost at the rate of 3 feet per second, yung shadow niya ay umahaba ng 2 feet per second. Therefore, yung answer natin sa question na at what rate is the length of the person's shadows changing when the person is 7 feet from the lamppost, yung answer natin must be 2 feet per second. And we're done. Now, let's move on to example number 3. So, number 3. One rainy day, a girl broke up with her boyfriend after being together for 5 years. They decided to separate at the place where they first met each other. The boy is due north, crying and running at the rate of 6 feet per second. And the girl is walking due east at a rate of 1.5 feet per second, thinking if she made the right decision. Now, the question is, how fast are they separating from each other 4 seconds after they started moving to a new life without each other? So, that's our question. Now, paano natin sasagutin? So, una, kailangan alam natin kung nasaan yung north, nasaan yung east, nasaan yung west, nasaan yung south. Now, paano natin i-visualize yung scenario na to? Suppose, itong red dot, ito yung place kung saan sila nag-meet at kung saan sila maghihiwalay. Now, si boy is crying and running at a rate of 6 feet per second due north. So, ito ay pataas. Ano yung rate niya? 6 feet per second. Next, si girl naman is walking due east at a rate of 1.5 per second. Yung east papunta ng kanan. So, ang rate niya is 1.5 feet per second. Now, the question is, how fast are they separating from each other? So, yung goal natin is to find how fast are they separating from each other. So, gagawa tayo ng line and obviously, makaka-create tayo ng right triangle. Now, let's have the solution. So, ito ulit yung ating problem. Gawin ulit natin yung illustration na ginawa natin kanina. So, ito yung kanilang starting point kung saan sila nag-meet. And then, yung boy ay due north and then yung girl is due east. And yung goal natin, mahanap how fast are they separating from each other. Next, step 2 is assign some variable and their rate of change. So, we have yung girl as G, yung B is yung boy, and yung X, yung distance nila sa isa't isa. Since nag-break na sila, kaya gagamitin natin ay X. Okay? Next is, what is dB over dt? So, yung dB over dt must be 6 feet per second. Tatandaan natin, ito yung boy na tumatakbo papuntang north at a rate of 6 feet per second. Next, ano naman yung dg over dt? So, ito ay 1.5 feet per second. Ito yung rate when the girl is walking due east. So, ito ay 1.5 feet per second. Now, yung goal natin mahanap dito is yung rate of change nung distance nila sa isa't isa. So, we have dx over dt. Now, we're done in step 1 and step 2. Step number 3 is to relate all the quantities in a single equation. Now, as you can see, meron tayo dito tatlong side ng right triangle. Therefore, pwede natin gamitin yung Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Now, palitan natin lahat ng variable. So, yung a squared natin gawin natin g squared plus b squared is equal to x squared. Now, since we're done in step number 3, pwede natin kunin yung derivative both sides with respect to t. So, we have the derivative of g squared plus b squared with respect to t is equal to the derivative of x squared with respect to t. Now, simplify natin. We have 2g times dg over dt plus 2b times db over dt is equal to 2x times dx over dt. Now, at this point, we're almost done. So, nandun na tayo sa step number 5. Gagamitin natin itong equation na to para makuha natin yung hinahanap. Yung goal natin dito is to find dx over dt. Meron tayong value for db over dt at meron tayong value for dg over dt. Now, yung question na lang natin is ano yung value nung g, nung b, at nung x. Now, balikan natin yung question. How fast are they separating from each other after 4 seconds? Now, in this case, after 4 seconds, gano'n nakalayo si boy at gano'n nakalayo si girl. Now, tandaan natin na si boy ay tumatakbo papuntang north at a rate of 6 feet per second. So, after 4 seconds, gano'n na siya kalayo. So, we have 6 times 4 or simply 24 feet. So, si B ay 24 feet na. How about the distance ng girl dun sa starting point? Now, yung girl is naglalakad due east at a rate of 1.5 feet per second. Therefore, after 4 seconds, yung layo niya must be 1.5 times 4 or simply 1.5 times 4 or 6 feet. Therefore, yung B natin is 24 feet and yung G natin must be 6 feet. Palitan natin. We have 24 feet and 6 feet. Now, yung question, paano mahanap yung variable x? Simple lang. Ito na yung sagot. We have g squared plus b squared equals to x squared using Pythagorean theorem. Substitute natin. We have 6 squared plus 24 squared is equal to x squared. Simplify natin. We get 612 is equal to x squared. Getting square root both sides, we get 6 square root of 17 is equal to x. Simplify na agad natin. Now, since meron na tayong value ng variable x, meron na tayong value ng variable b and yung variable g, pwede natin i-substitute dun sa ating equation. So, we have 2 times 6 times 1.5, ito yung dg over dt, plus 2 times b, yung b natin is 24, times db over dt, which is 6 feet per second, is equal to 2 times yung x natin ay 6 square root of 17 times dx over dt. Yun yung goal nating mahanap, dx over dt. Simplify natin. We have 306 is equal to 12 times square root of 17 times dx over dt. Now, divide natin both sides by 12 times square root of 17 and then rationalize natin. And we get dx over dt is equal to 3 square root of 17 all over 2 feet per second. Now, convert natin into decimal. So, we have 6.18 feet per second. Now, what does it mean? Ito yung rate ng paglayo nila sa isa't isa after 4 seconds. Now, yung question natin, how fast are they separating from each other 4 seconds after they started moving to new life without each other? And our answer must be 6.18 feet per seconds. And we're done.